Hello. My boyfriend's getting out of jail. I'm really, really scared. He said he's going to come and find me, and I don't know what's going to happen. And
Can I speak to you in confidence? There's $4,000 missing from my bank account, and I'm sick with worry.
They're not gonna believe me. They're gonna believe him
My credit
like they
card was
always
taken,
did
and I
before.
don't know
And
where to
find
go
out
to get
what's
anything
happened to
when
my
I
money.
don't
Is
know
there someone
anything
who can
about the
help
law.
me?
you don't know what he's capable of.
Please
He can
help.
find me no matter where I am.
Each year in Ontario, Victim Services is called upon to assist countless victims in their search for information and support, navigating through the criminal justice process and next steps to help empower them to identify and address safety concerns, and finally, help return them to a more stabilized and safe environment. Who are those victims? Anyone whose personal rights have been violated by a criminal act or violent or aggressive act, family and friends of people injured or killed as a result of a serious accident, crime, or tragic circumstance, anyone who has viewed or been affected by a violent crime or traumatic incident. Oftentimes, people appear calm and composed in the aftermath of a crime or tragic circumstance, likely due to shock or disbelief over what they've just experienced. Once your job is done, you leave the scene, but the impact is only just beginning for that victim, who is left overwhelmed, alone, confused, and very scared.
As a new commissioner of the OPP, there's a couple things that are really important to me, will be priorities. One of them is victim services. One of them is crime prevention. And the provision of victim services, as well as that second priority, is also preventative by nature of what the victim services people do.
Victim Services Program delivery looks different across the province. Some areas have a community-based victim services program utilizing volunteers and paid staff, while other areas have a police-based victim services unit utilizing only paid staff or perhaps a combination of paid staff and community volunteers. Regardless of the format of the delivery, victim services is available across the province in every jurisdiction.
Whether you are an officer employed with the Ontario Provincial Police or large urban area, you all have access to victim services across the province, and they are available 24 hours, 7 days a week.
It's crucial for victims when they have contact with that emergency service provider, police, fire, ambulance, whoever it happens to be, to find out immediately what programs we have that can assist them. It's that immediate contact, it's the first 24, 72 hours that can make such a crucial difference for victims.
As police officers, we're really not trained to be crisis workers. That's really not our role. But it's important that we establish the link to the people that are, the people that do it well, they're trained and dedicated for that purpose. So it's important that we ultimately make sure that link is established.
The police officers had come to my house to give me the notification that he had died, and had also told me that they had called victim services to come and assist me. I was in shock. I was thinking what I was going to do next, where things were going to go. I really had no clue.
There's a huge range of responses from victims, some that are quite obvious and very traumatic, and whether they're weeping or exhibiting anger or fits, you name it, to the very quiet, shy, coy, unresponsive kind of individuals who are really hurting inside, who really do need a lot of help. But not that they're not necessarily not open to assistance, but they just have so much going on. They're in shock.
Just like individuals like Darlene Burgess, whose day started out like any other, but then in an instant, her world was turned upside down by a knock at her door. Victim Services' primary goal is to lessen the impact of trauma, so having an officer attend with a Victim Services representative helps to ensure both emergency services work together to provide the best support possible.
Yeah, I'm Sergeant Mark Hayes from the Peel Regional Police. And this is my colleague Lisa. She's from Victim Services. Well, what we do, we need to speak to you about something that's transpired today. Okay. So is there somewhere where we can go and talk?
Sure. Is everything okay?
Well, what we'll do is once we have somewhere to talk, I'll explain everything to you, and Lisa will be here to answer any questions that you may have. Kelly, I'm sorry to give you this bad news today, but is there anything that Lisa and I can do for you today?
You know what? Right now, I'm just in shock. Honestly, I'm trying to process everything that you've told me here, and I'm in shock.
That's totally understandable, Kelly.
Victim Services can help lessen the impact of trauma by recognizing feelings of shock and furthermore by assisting those vulnerable individuals with the critical emotional and practical assistance required that will assist them in the days, weeks, and months that lie ahead.
Oh my God, my kids. Oh my God, oh my God. Oh my God, what am I going to tell my kids?
Well, we'll work on that together, and I can contact anyone you need to help you go through this.
They just helped me walk through the motions because I wasn't thinking clearly at the time.
One of the reasons I do really well on the road is because of my background with the ETF and working in team environment. One thing I have discovered throughout the years of my service with Toronto Police is the fact that victim service is an integral part of the Toronto Police Services team. We have utilized the services of victim services, and it creates a fluid environment for us to seek services and help out the victims of crime.
How do we know when they need help? Assume they do.
Personal note, I think it's important to remember that when you deal with a victim of crime, they will never remember what you said to them. They will always just remember how you made them feel.
Well, sadly, we have hundreds of people killed on Ontario highways every year, and hundreds more that are badly injured. At times, it may be a child left out of an entire family. So without support, how's that child ever going to deal with that? Or a mother that's lost children, or potentially people who have been victims of crime.
On the back here is the report number, and there's a phone number for victim services. If you need anything, you can give them a call. Okay?
Okay, that might be good.
I'm going to go deal with the other witnesses right now, all right?
Okay. All right. Is the door locked? Have we locked the door? It is locked? Okay, good.
By using victim services in the immediate aftermath instead of a last resort, we can not only assist victims, but provide a more enhanced service to you as frontline officers that will offset your heavy workload. This is not about increasing your workload, but rather decreasing your responsibilities.
Police officers in our investigations must always remember that where there is an offender, there is a victim.
They need to understand what victim services really offers. What can victim services do in this particular instance? You need to be able to provide a good referral.
Okay, Ali, so we've contacted Victim Services, and they're here.
And not unlike any other police organization across the province, we all have diversity in the populations that we serve. And I think there's a need to be representative of the populations that we do serve. I think it's ideal to have a representative working with victim services who can respond and assist our residents in their time of need.
It's important to understand the various cultures and customs of the country of origin and how that impacts the choices they make as a result of fear or repercussion. Victim Services strives to provide a culturally appropriate service through language diversity when English is not the first language.
And जो भी आप कहना चाहते हो हमें बता सकते हो और जो भी बात हमें बताओगे हम हमेशा वो गुप्त रखेंगे.
And what was really nice is that they had someone who spoke Italian go speak to my parents. And my mom really needed that support because she was trying to hold up for everyone. And it was wonderful to have someone to go in, and so she could just let her guard down and really talk openly about what was going through her mind and give her the support she needed.
Contacting Victim Services may result in the assurance that the victim receives the support that they require, which allows you as a frontline officer to focus on your investigation. Fewer repeat calls made to officers. A well-supported victim is better prepared for court. And Victim Services can also be an effective buffer when a crisis impacts a crime scene or investigation.
Being an investigator in the Homicide Bureau, and prior to that being in the Special Victims Unit, it's important with major cases that we interact with Victim Services on a regular basis. Due to the nature of the high-profile case, i.e. homicide, it's important as police officers that we focus on the investigation and that we get Victim Services involved to assist us with the support that the victim and the victim's families require.
I saw her favorite sandwich shop across the street, And I said, why don't we pick up something? Because we had a really early dinner. And she says, okay, Mom. And, you know, I ended up getting a spot right in front. And last thing I said to her is, make sure you lock your doors, and I'll be right back. So I walked in, and all of a sudden, like, I walked in, and 34 seconds later, according to what the police tapes said, I heard a very strange sound. And I thought somebody hit the car. So I remember turning, and I remember something just moving my hair, and it's just really strange, all these noises like pew, pew, pew. And I knew immediately, you know, to get down, and I thought, oh my goodness, what's happening here? But I obviously didn't make it on my own.
Like policing, which we're a 24/7 operation, Victim Services is also a 24/7 operation that works hand in hand with the police service. And they are a major stakeholder in our care of victims.
Saying that, it's important for police to ensure that when dealing with victim services, that we ensure that we take them to the scene with us or take them to where the family may be, so that there is the first-hand interaction with the family and or victims of crime. It's not good enough to just say that here's a phone number for you, call Victim Services, or we'll have somebody call you. In my experience, it's important to have Victim Services with you to ensure that the victims and their families meet somebody face to face and are able to put that face to that number and are able to contact them on a regular basis if required.
We recognize that our officers go out on a daily basis and they focus on being extremely diligent and ensuring that criminals are caught and ultimately prosecuted. But what is as important, if not more important, is the service that is provided to the victims, and that has to be one of the biggest things we think about when we're investigating any crime.
And very often, it's Victim Services that's the gateway to community resources.
Victim Services, in one word, I'd say they're responsive, they're supportive. They're there for the people that need them, when they need them, how they need them.
A referral to Victim Services is a one-stop shop.
Victim Services is a right of the victim. It's vital for the victim. It's something they deserve, and it's something that we have to provide.
Don't ever feel that you're out there and that you are alone in this. This is a team approach, and Victim Services is available as an important part of your team.
I think that what the most important thing is when somebody is a victim, they're not thinking clearly. They're not able to make possibly correct choices. They're not thinking clearly. Their whole life has changed. They need to know that there's somebody there to help them.
Victim Services, to me, is very, very important. It's making a connection, making a personal connection with someone who can help you, guide you through the system, and get you some support and help that you need for yourself and for your family.
One additional resource in the province of Ontario is the Victim Support Line, which can provide victims information 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as well as a host of services, and direct those victims to the resources that they need.
Victim Services is so important. It's service through compassion.
How do I describe Victim Services? 3 words: caring, skillful, and effective.